The college football season is officially over, as well as our first official look at the 12-team playoff. During the entire college football season, we were talking nonstop about what the 12-team college football playoff would look like and going through all the different scenarios on how it would play out. Well, after seeing the results of the first 12-team playoff, was it a success or was it a failure? But before we get to that, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are you love college football, and odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel. So make sure to subscribe to one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. Now, if you've been watching my videos at any point over the last year, you would know where I stood on the 12-team playoff. I was all for it because I thought we had to distance ourselves from the 4-team playoff. I was originally in favor of 8, but after seeing how things played out, I think 12 is actually the perfect number. With the playoff expanding to 12 teams, it meant more teams got in, and it meant more teams were alive in the final weeks of the college football season, which I think we all can agree made it that much more exciting. Alright, so was the 12-team playoff a success? Well, considering the 2 teams that made the national championship would not have made it in the 4-team format, I think you can already say it was a success. Notre Dame and Ohio State played each other in the national championship. Now, when you look at the actual college football playoff rankings, Notre Dame came in at number 5 and Ohio State came in at number 6. But due to the conference champions getting byes, the actual seedings were Notre Dame at 7 and Ohio State at 8, which I think can even back up this format even more. Now, had this been previous years, your 4-team college football playoff would have been Oregon at number 1, Georgia at number 2, Texas at number 3, and Penn State at number 4. Now, I will give credit to Texas and Penn State because they had to win 2 games just to make it to the Final Four, so they proved their worth. But Oregon, we saw them get absolutely embarrassed in their first meeting against Ohio State. And Georgia, well, they looked terrible against Notre Dame in their first game as well. Now, Oregon did finish the season undefeated, so they definitely deserve to be ranked number 1, but I think with this new playoff format, it showed that a team like Georgia, who was missing their starting quarterback, they showed that they would not have deserved to be one of the Final Four teams in the playoff rankings. You would have had Oregon taking on Penn State, and you would have had Georgia taking on Texas. And this actually would have sucked because we would have had 2 rematches. Oregon and Penn State played each other in the Big Ten title game, and Georgia and Texas played each other in the SEC title game. Now, maybe in this scenario, they would have moved some things around. That way we could have gotten Oregon versus Texas and Penn State versus Georgia. But yeah, seeing how this top 4 would have looked based on what the college football playoff rankings were at the end of conference championship weekend, yeah, safe to say, I'm really glad we got this 12-team playoff. Because again, in this scenario, in this format, Notre Dame and Ohio State, they wouldn't have made it in. And as we saw with how things played out in the 12-team bracket, Notre Dame and Ohio State were the 2 best teams since they made it to the national championship. Now, I think if this would have gone chalk and the highest seeded team would have won every game, there could have been people that would have been arguing we should have stuck to the 4-team playoff because nothing really changed. The only thing that we're adding is more games. But the fact that Notre Dame and Ohio State, 2 teams that wouldn't have made it in the 4-team format, made it to the national championship, I think that just proves right then and there the 12-team format works, and we really got to stick with it moving forward. Now, I didn't really do a video talking about this because I've just been busy, there's been a lot of stuff going on, but there was a lot of discussion about all these teams that got blown out in all of these playoff games. I mean, in the first round, you had Tennessee losing by 25 points to Ohio State, you had SMU losing by 28 points to Penn State, and although Indiana only fell to Notre Dame by 10 points, that game was essentially a blowout as well. Then if you look in the second round, Ohio State dominated Oregon, Penn State for the most part dominated Boise State, and Notre Dame for the most part dominated Georgia. The only close game we had was in that Texas-Arizona State matchup when my Arizona State Sun Devils, oh, they should have won that game. I still can't believe they didn't call that targeting call, but again, there's nothing we can do. But Arizona State, they should have been playing in the semifinals against Ohio State. Now, I got no issue with this because we see blowouts all the time. I mean, we see them in the NFL playoffs. I've talked about this before. We've seen them in semifinal games in years past. I don't think it matters at all. These were the 12 best teams in college football, and blowouts like this are gonna happen. Now, would I be surprised if next season all of the first round matchups are 1-score games? games, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. So to all the people out there that were complaining that these games were lopsided, and this just goes to show that we shouldn't have a 12-team playoff with these games, I mean, come on, did we all think that Tennessee was going to lose by 25 points? Did we think that Oregon was going to lose by 20 to Ohio State? We just didn't. We don't know what's going to happen in college football when we get these matchups, so I got no issue with it. And come on, seeing these games being played at home stadiums, I thought that was awesome. That's something that college football needs to do moving forward. And if it was up to me, I would actually have the quarterfinals be at home stadiums as well. Now, because of bowl games, I know they're not going to do that. They need to have the New Year's 6 games all being played, but I really wish we got more home playoff games. Now, moving forward, I would like to see a few changes in the college football playoff moving forward. Now, I do think if you win your conference, you shouldn't be getting an automatic bye. Now, I know it adds incentive for these teams wanting to win their conference, but I think just by winning your conference, you should just be guaranteed an automatic bid, kind of like how we do it with March Madness. If you win the Big 12 conference, you don't necessarily get the number 1 seed, you just get an automatic bid. And that's how I think it should be moving forward. Now, as an Arizona State fan, I love that they got the bye, I love that they got to bypass the first round, but if we're being honest with ourselves, Arizona State, they didn't deserve a first round bye, and neither did Boise State. I think it should be the normal college football playoff rankings. So let's take a look at how the final rankings looked before we got into the 12-team playoff. Now, when looking at these rankings, this is how things should have been. Arizona State came in at number 12 in the committee's final ranking. Well, they should have jumped over Alabama, and they should have been ranked number 11. Then you have Clemson, who they finished ranked number 16. They get the 12th and final bid. So for the most part, nothing really changes. You have your top 10 just the way they are, but Arizona State moves up to 11, and Clemson moves up to number 12 because they get the automatic bids for winning their conference. In this scenario, you would have had Oregon, Georgia, Texas, and Penn State all receiving first-round byes. Then in this scenario, Notre Dame would have played Clemson, Ohio State would have played Arizona State, Tennessee would have played SMU, and Indiana would have played Boise State. Again, I get why they want to do this. It makes winning your conference championship that much more important, but still, I think the teams that are getting the 4 byes, those should be the 4 best teams in college football based on who the committee thinks. You're still incentivized to win your conference because by winning, you get an automatic bid. So it doesn't really take away any of the importance of these conference championship games. Again, that would just be my small critique. I think they should consider that moving forward because again, Arizona State and Boise State, I don't think they deserved byes. Now, Arizona State at least, they proved that they were a good team. They proved that they deserved that first round bye. But again, that's just something I would like to see moving forward. But overall, I got no complaints. I thought the first ever edition of the 12-team college football playoff was pretty much perfect. Now, it would have been nice if a lot of these games were closer, but I still think with all this said and done, we got the 2 best teams in the national championship, and obviously with Ohio State winning, with them winning 4 playoff games, they proved that they are the best team in college football. In a 4-team format, I don't think we necessarily get the best team. So what were your thoughts on the first edition of the 12-team college football playoff? Are you in favor of it being 12 teams, or would you like to see it expanded to more? Or after seeing how it played out, do you still think that 4 teams is the perfect number? Also, what are your thoughts on the first round byes? Do you think they should still keep it, whereas if you win your conference, you get a bye, or should it be just the 4 best teams, and if you win your conference, you get an automatic bid? Whatever your thoughts are on all things college football playoff, let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. I'm going to be posting college football videos all off season long, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm, and it helps share this video and my channel with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you all in my next video.